We're heading into the final few months of the year, and if you run an SME, this is normally the point where the pressure really starts to ramp up. You've got numbers you want to hit before Christmas, sales are looking at what can still be closed, you need leads coming in, and at the same time, you need to start thinking about what the pipeline looks like when everyone comes back in January. And I think this is exactly where we make a mistake because when the numbers start looking a little uncomfortable, our instinct is to do more marketing and throw more at it. So it's more content, more campaigns, more ads, more lead generation, another platform, another lead magnet, another bloody thing for someone in marketing to do. And before you know it, everyone is incredibly busy, but nobody has actually stopped to ask whether any of that activity is going to help you hit that magic number. So between now and the end of the year, I'm going to do the opposite. I'm narrowing my marketing down. I've been looking at what I'm doing to concentrate on my own business, and these are just the same things I'd recommend to pretty much SME, regardless of whether you're in IT, renewables, professional services, engineering, or something completely different. Because although the tactics might change, the fundamentals really don't. Can the right people find you? When they do, is there enough evidence for them to trust you? Are you getting in front of the businesses you actually want to work with? And is your marketing helping turn those conversations into actual business? Those are the four things I'm concentrating on. And the first thing is be easier to find. This is probably one of my biggest areas of focus between now and the end of the year because of the way people find businesses is changing very quickly. People obviously still use Google, but they're also asking ChatGPT and Gemini. They're searching YouTube and LinkedIn. They're reading reviews, looking at Reddit, and checking what other people say about you before they even speak to you. And there's been an interesting development with Google's Search Console recently because Google is giving businesses much more visibility into how their content on platforms such as YouTube, Instagram, TikTok appears in Google search. I think that's significant because for years we've treated SEO as one job and social media as something completely different. Your SEO person worries about Google, your social person worries about LinkedIn or Instagram, your video person worries about YouTube. Your customer really doesn't care about any of that. They've got a question or a problem and they want an answer. And if Google gives them your YouTube video or they find your LinkedIn content while they're researching you, that's all part of the same journey. So I don't think the answer for an SME is to suddenly say, right, we now need an SEO strategy, a social search strategy, and an AI search strategy, and on top of everything else we're doing. I'm going to do something much simpler. I'm going to get really clear about what I want my business to be found for and make sure I've got genuinely useful content around those things. And I'd suggest you do exactly the same. Start with the questions customers actually ask you, not what somebody's keyword tool says you should write about. What are people asking you when they're considering buying? What do they want to know about cost? What do they compare? What really worries them? What keeps them awake at night? What don't they understand? What usually holds up the decision? Write down 5 or 10 of those questions and then go and search them. Google them, ask ChatGPT, ask Gemini, ask Grok. Who appears? Do you appear? Do your competitors appear? And if your competitors keep appearing and you don't, have a look at why. Then look at your website and your existing content. Have you actually answered those questions properly? That's where I'd start. You don't necessarily need more content, you need the content you've already got and the expertise you've already got inside the business just to work much harder. Second thing is build enough authority to turn being found into being considered, because being found isn't enough. Someone comes across your business, then what? What's next for them? Particularly if you're in B2B, they're going to check you out. If I contact somebody about working with my company, I fully expect them to Google me. They might look at my LinkedIn profile. They'll probably look at my website. They might look at who I've worked with. They might check reviews. They might even ask ChatGPT what it knows about the business. And that's where authority becomes commercially really important. This is obviously something I'm going to be concentrating on because it's a large part of what we do anyway. If you look at awards, executive personal brands, customer stories, thought leadership, PR, and getting credible third parties talking about the business. But I don't see those things as separate from lead generation. They help lead generation work. And if somebody receives a message from you and has never heard of you, the evidence they find when they check you out can be the difference between ignoring you and thinking, actually, these people look interesting. So between now and the end of the year, I'm going to look at the evidence around my own business. What have we achieved? What results can we demonstrate on behalf of our clients? What customer stories haven't we yet told? What do I genuinely have an opinion about? What do I know from doing this work that would actually be useful to the businesses that I want to reach? And I do that exercise in your business too, because you can spend a fortune generating attention, but if somebody investigates you afterwards and finds very little reason to trust you, you've got a hole in your marketing. And there's another reason I think this matters now. Not everyone is searching your business between now and Christmas, is going to buy before Christmas. Some of them are deciding who they want to talk to next year. I want reason why to already be in their head when they start having that conversation. So the third thing is about deciding exactly who you want to win. And this is probably where I'm going to get much more disciplined myself. I don't want thousands of leads. I don't need thousands of leads. Nobody does. I want the right businesses. And there's a very simple exercise every SME can do. Look at your best customers, which are the most profitable customers, which value what you do, which buy the kind of work you want to do more of, which are enjoyable to work with. Then look at what those businesses have in common. Sector might be part of it, size might be part of it, geography might matter. But then look for the trigger. Why might another business like that need you right now? Have they grown very quickly? Have they appointed a new CEO or MD? Have they made an acquisition recently, entered a new market by perhaps, won a large contract, started recruiting, launched potentially a new product? Something has changed in the business which creates a reason for a conversation. And here's the challenge I'd give you. If you can't name the 20 businesses you'd most like to win between now and the end of the year, I'd do that before spending another pound generating leads. Because for an SME, I'd much rather have 20 or 30 property research businesses that genuinely fit what I sell rather than another database containing 2,000 names nobody has a particular reason to contact. Then marketing becomes much more focused. What are those businesses interested in? What problems do they have? Who are the decision makers? What could I create that would actually be useful to them? What could give me a legitimate reason to start that conversation? And that's where marketing and sales should become much closer. Marketing builds familiarity, trust, and authority around the problems that businesses have. And sales starts and develops those conversations beyond that point. They're working towards the same target rather than marketing proudly handing sales another spreadsheet full of people they've never heard of. And the fourth thing is making your marketing earn its keep. And this is the final area I'm going to concentrate on. Marketing shouldn't stop when somebody becomes a lead. If you've got opportunities already sitting in the pipeline, ask what marketing can do to help close them. Speak to sales. What keeps coming up in conversations? What objections are you hearing? What's holding decisions up? Where's it stopping in the pipeline? Maybe prospects need to understand the ROI better. Create something that explains those objections. Maybe they're worried about implementation. Show them exactly what implementation looks like. Maybe somebody needs to convince their finance director or their HR director. Give them something they can forward internally. Maybe you have a brilliant customer story that proves you can solve exactly the same problem they're worried about. Get in front of them. I don't particularly care if that piece of content gets 50 views. If only one of those 50 views helps move a valuable piece of business towards a decision, it's done its job. And the same principle applies to advertising. I'm not going to tell you to stop running ads in Q4. If they're working, absolutely keep running them, but tighten them. If you're using Google or Bing, concentrate on the searches that indicate someone is actually looking for what you sell. So intent-based keywords. If you're using LinkedIn, go back to that list of businesses you genuinely want to win and use paid activity to reach the right people inside those companies. And don't forget the people who already know you. Website visitors, warm prospects, previous inquiries, and businesses sales is already talking to be far more valuable than constantly paying to reintroduce yourself to another 1,000 strangers. For an SME, you probably don't need 6 campaigns running across 3 platforms. One good search campaign capturing demand and one tightly targeted campaign supporting the businesses you actually want to win may be enough. And if your Q4 target is looking uncomfortable, don't panic and start throwing money at LinkedIn. Advertising can't rescue a proposition nobody understands. A website that doesn't convince people or leads nobody follows up. Use ads to accelerate something that's only already working. Don't use them to disguise something that isn't. And don't wait until January to think about January. This is really part of all 4 of those things. Somebody discovering you in October might buy in November. Somebody else might not be ready to buy until February. That's all fine. They could be reviewing suppliers right now in advance of 2027. They could be setting budgets. They could be deciding what needs to change next year. So I want to walk into January with conversations already underway. I don't want to come back after Christmas, open the laptop and think, right, where are we going to find some leads? Because by then it's far too late. So that's my focus between now and the end of the year. I'm not adding another 5 platforms. I'm not doubling the amount of content that I'm going to be producing. And I'm certainly not going to do more marketing simply for the sake of being able to say we're doing more marketing. I'm narrowing it. I want the right businesses to be able to find me. I want enough evidence around reason why for them to trust me when they do. I want to be very deliberate about the businesses I actually want to work with. And I want the marketing we're producing to help turn those conversations into business. I would challenge you all to do the same. If you could only concentrate on 3 or 4 things between now and Christmas, what would actually move the number? Because more marketing isn't necessarily the answer. Better focused marketing probably is. And that's exactly what I'm going to be concentrating on between now and the end of the year. If you're running an SME, let me know in the comments what you're focusing on for the rest of the year. And if you find this useful, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe to The Curious Marketer. And I'll see you in the next episode.